This is Mark,
And this is Kendrick.
and this is Movies in Black and White.
Oh, why did we have to wait 2 years for this movie?
You know, I don't know.
Was it 2 years?
It was 2 years. Yeah, because, it was slated to come out in 2018, around 2017, 2018.
Well, I remember the original trailer for it. And the trailer was cool. Like, it got me hyped. Like,
Yeah.
I had zero expectations for that movie before that trailer. And then the trailer dropped and I was like, huh, okay. New Mutants might actually be a contender for something.
Right.
But then the whole Fox-Disney merger deal started
Yes.
coming out, and it was thrown in limbo whether this movie would come out or not. And then lo and behold, as theaters are starting to ramp back up, what do we get? We get New Mutants in theaters.
Exactly. Which I say could have been on a streaming
Oh,
platform.
yeah, in a heartbeat.
I understand, like we talked about a little bit, there was a story there. There could have been a very good story and a very in-depth story. I think they just went so quickly into each character's origin and each character's, not even their origin, but even their powers so quickly that it was like, okay, it was very rushed. It could have been a lot longer. I'll give you a little background on New Mutants. In 1982, Chris Claremont came up with this new team to kind of rival the Teen Titans over at DC.
Oh, I love the Titans.
Yeah, of course. It's not to love. Yeah, they came up with this team, said at that time the X-Men had been shuttled off into somewhere and they thought they were dead, so they had to bring in another title to sort of fill those slots.
That was always the MO with the X-Men, though. Like,
Right.
the original lineup of the X-Men was Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, Angel, and Jean Grey. And the only... when Wolverine and Storm and all the heavy hitters got introduced is because they thought the original team was dead.
Was
That's
dead.
always
Exactly.
the X-Men MO.
Right. Chris Claremont started writing it, said it was they did really well with it. And then, after a while, he went on to another project, and they sort of died off. Sort of kind of the popularity died off, and then Rob Liefeld came along and helped relaunch them,
Yeah.
introducing several characters.
Well, Rob Liefeld's awesome. That's the guy that created Deadpool.
Deadpool,
Right?
Cable.
Yep.
You had all those different characters in there. Domino was in that group. So, it was a resurgence. But like this movie, the comic book had the same problems. Delayed,
Yeah.
relaunch, delayed, relaunch, delayed, relaunch. A whole bunch of stuff that caused problems in this. As far as the movie went, Ileana Rasputin's powers and the way she looked in the movie was really how I would picture her powers being. Now, she was a little whinier.
Yeah, Magic was not quite as a fleshed out character as I hoped she would have been.
Right.
Like, the whole subplot with the smiling men
Yeah.
just kind of fell flat. Like you
Oh, it
said,
did.
it was way too... Running time was like an hour and 36 minutes. Way too short
Right.
for what they were trying to do with this story. And I felt that it could have been at least 20 to 30 minutes longer.
Right.
I was explaining to somebody when they were asking me how I thought the movie was. I was like, oh, it was good, just too short. And they're like, well, an hour and a half's a long time. I was like, no, it's not. A perfect runtime for me is anywhere between 2 hours and 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yes.
That's the golden
perfect.
money ticket
That's
right there.
perfect.
That's where you're going to get into middle or beginning, middle, end, and you're not going to have really any issues.
I agree. And there's some movies that are epic that can push it to the 3 hour mark, which is, keep you entertained. But I'm going to run down the characters.
Yeah, I got it
Lineup?
right here. Actually, so I was looking something up. So real quick, funny story. I was really excited to see Cannonball.
Right.
I love Cannonball.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw Cannonball, I was given a comic book by a comic book artist named Billy Tan. Do you know who
Okay.
Billy Tan is?
No.
So he's a awesome comic book artist. My dad and I went and did work in his house when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
And my dad was like, you're really going to want to come to work with me today. I was like, why? He's like, because we're working at a comic book artist house. And we just did some ceiling fans, some house, paintings and other stuff in his
Right.
house. It was really cool. And he got to he showed me a studio he learned. My dad had told him that I was a big comic book fan, and he gave me a stack of comic books. Well, one of the books he gave me was Uncanny X-Men volume. I don't remember the volume. I have it stored away.
Right.
But on the cover was Cannonball with a bunch of other mutants. And I was like, oh, that dude looks cool. So I went flipping through the art. And I saw Cannonball for the first time. And he was just propelling through the air like at Mach speeds, right? Just
Right.
happy, big old grin on his face. And I was like, whoa, that is the coolest, one of the coolest characters I've seen in a long time. His powers in the movie left a lot
To
to
be
be wanted.
oh my
Because like when
gosh.
he tacked himself to that concrete and he was flying around like a wiffle ball, that was really cool.
Right.
But then the one scene that bothered me the most was when he was in the hallway and he charged up, and then it just, next thing you know, he's already zoomed through the hallway, and the hallway's all destroyed. Like there was no big loud explosion, no reverberation, nothing. It was just boom, done. I was like, oh,
Exactly.
come on. All right, so the cast of this movie was, let me get to it. We got Macy Williams as Rain Sinclair. Everybody should know who Macy Williams is. Game of Thrones alumni. She played Arya Stark.
Yeah.
And then you got Anya Taylor-Joy, which everybody should know again because she was in Split and Glass. She's a phenomenal actress. Like her scene with James McAvoy in Glass makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah.
She just gut punch. She played Ilyana Rasputin, which the one thing that really bothered me with her character, besides her slug pot falling apart, was the fact that it was never even hinted at that she was the sister of Colossus.
Right.
Because magic is the sister of Colossus.
And they're so tied together in the comic books.
Well, that's how Colossus got his powers.
Yeah.
Well, not how
Well,
he got
not-
his powers activated. Was he saved her from a tractor that almost hit her. He stepped in front of it and everything activated.
Right. They have a brother, too.
Do they?
Just Mikhail Rasputin. He is, like, next level. He's Omega level, like,
What's
on
his
par with the
Magneto?
Beyonders.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's his powers?
Beyonders. Matter manipulation, energy manipulation. He can do it any.
So God.
Yeah, he does a lot of
Cool.
things.
Good to know.
He almost solved the legacy virus. So I mean, if you know what that is, in comic
How do you
books-
go from a guy that has metal skin to magic to that? Like that's some boom boom.
It's an
woof.
older brother. I don't know how that works
Good
out. But
Lord.
it works.
Then you got Charlie Heaton as Samuel Sam Guthrie. Guthrie.
Yep, which is Cannonball.
Cannonball, yeah. I loved his Kentucky accent. For being a British guy,
Yeah,
he
did pull
nailed that
off
Kentucky
really
accent.
well.
See, then you got Alice Braga as Cecilia Reyes, which she was all right.
She was all right, and I think that they. The one thing I looked at that character was a lot of things were just shoehorned in for her. Mm-hmm. You know, and it was like, okay, somebody had to be there. It's basically what they
Right.
kind of made it seem like. She's also, I love her as an actress. She's great in Predators, great in Queen of the South. I mean,
She was in Predators, wasn't
Yeah,
she? She
yeah.
starred opposite of Adrian Brody.
Exactly.
She was the sniper.
and she's going to be in the relaunch of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's right. She's gonna. Yeah, I remember her showing up in that list from James Gunn's trailer on DC Fandom.
Right.
That's why I was like, man, she looks so familiar. And I meant to look it up after I left the theater, but I forgot. Then you got Blue Hunt as Daniela Danny Moonstar. She was great.
I thought she was good. I thought she did a good job with her tortured powers and not really knowing what her powers were and if how are all the people around her getting hurt. You know, that was really good.
Then you got Henry Zaga as Roberto Bobby DaCosta, Sunspot.
That was my biggest disappointment in this movie.
Yeah, he was kind of just fell
They
flat.
nerfed that character
His power
tremendously.
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh. I was
well,
like,
the only part that really showcased his power is when he was lighting up, when he was in his like little psycho moment when he was having those visions.
Yeah.
And she pushed him in the pool, and all that steam came up because his body was cooling down, and
pool
half
was-
the pool
yeah,
was empty.
exactly.
I was like, okay, that's
that
right.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
But then when he fought the demon bear at the end, I was like, really? This is all you're gonna do? You're gonna hit him?
Yeah.
Like you could throw fucking fireballs,
Plasma
plasma.
balls. Yeah.
You could
I mean,
Jamie
you could-
Foxx this
everything.
shit, and you're just
Yes.
standing there like, ah, like
Oh,
no, that's
man.
not how we do
That was
this.
disappointing.
And then you had Adam Beach as William Lone Star, which is Danny's father. The big bad at the end was the demon bear, which looked really, really cool. Yet again, could have used a little more exposition, a little more fleshing out. It kind of just
Right.
came out of left field all of a sudden because the way the movie was structured, you could just feel that it wasn't given enough care and attention that it needed.
Correct.
And then, it went, the first half I say would be the best half. Because you're getting to know the characters, they're being introduced, you're getting to know the kids and what they've been through and how it's affected them. I mean, when mutants' powers activates, they hit the nail on the head with that. It could be traumatic for them because their powers could go on control and they could kill, maim, hurt, do anything to their loved ones without meaning to. It's not their choice. It's just something that they were born with.
Exactly.
And then after you get to the middle of the movie, when everything starts going sideways, it's just like, faceless or smiling men, demon
Yeah.
bear, bad guys.
Everybody.
Like, whoa, let's spin this back a few steps, please.
All the dreams coming out at once. And It's like,
Yeah.
okay, wait a second. Why is she having this thing with these smiling guys? This nightmare with these smiling faces, which I got the picture of. Okay,
Right.
they were all tattooed in these silk shirts. They were Russian dudes that probably abused her when she was a kid or something like that. I think
knows?
that's what she manifested
And
as.
I think a lot of it was meant to be fleshed out in a sequel. Because this was a trilogy, supposed to be a trilogy.
Right.
And this was just supposed to be the beginning part.
Right.
But I think they underwhelmed with everything for what was supposed to be the first one. Like, if you're going to go for a first one that's supposed to start off a trilogy, I think it's been proven time and time again now that you don't go with the mindset that you're starting a trilogy. Because 9 out of 10 times, you're probably not going to get the trilogy you want to get.
It's got to be a standalone.
The best movies that start trilogies are the movies that are supposed to be self-contained stories that no matter what will be viewable as a self-contained story and won't be like, oh, you need to go watch the second, third one to totally
Right.
get this.
Yes.
I mean, a la Batman Begins. Nolan didn't know if he wanted to go back and do more. He thought about it, but it wasn't at the forefront of his mind. I mean, the only loose knot they left open really was the Joker card. It's like, hey,
Right.
Joker's in this world.
Maybe
And
they'll play
then,
it.
you know what?
Yeah.
He came back and made one of the greatest sequels
Oh my
of
gosh.
all time. I mean, hell, Lucas always planned his Star Wars as a whole trilogy, obviously.
Right.
But he didn't know if he'd get there. So he made the Star Wars a very self-contained story, and he left a little thread open with Vader being blown out into space. As
Right.
far as everybody knew, if Star Wars was a one-shot, the Rebel Alliance won. The heroes got their medals. End of the
And
story.
that
It was
was
a
done.
self-contained story at that
Right.
point in time. And then once he realized, okay, I get to go do more of these, I'm going to start taking whatever strings I had and extending them out. That's how you do that. You don't go in with, well, we're going to hint at Mr. Sinister in this movie and then really introduce him in the second movie and then have him be the big bad in the third movie. It's like, no, that's not what we're doing here. Yet again, Pirates of the Caribbean. Another great one. It was a standalone movie, very self-contained. Had a post-credit scene, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? We could
Bring that
do more,
together
yeah."
again.
And then
Yeah.
they go with Davy Jones,
Right.
which was just awesome.
Yeah.
But anytime you plan out as a trilogy, it's not gonna work. It's really not gonna work,
Right.
unless you get somebody like a Matt Reeves type.
That
Who's
you
like, yeah,
know,
I'm
yeah.
going in, I'm writing this as a trilogy. This is going to be a solid trilogy. And he has proven himself time and time again as a solid
be able to do
filmmaker
it, yes.
to be able to put the, Rise, the Planet of the Apes trilogy. That was intended as a trilogy.
Exactly.
And it got off to a slow start with Rise. But then Matt Reeves came in and knocked it out of the park.
Right.
And then killed it with the finale.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that you can go in with that kind of mentality and make it work. Did you know that the Smile Men were voiced by Marilyn Manson?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just read that. How
That's
crazy is that?
crazy.
I didn't even know that. That is bonkers. So, do you know who directed this movie?
No.
Josh Boone.
Okay.
He directed The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. So his big one was The Fault in Our Stars. I'll tell you what, from going The Fault in Our Stars to The New Mutants, kind of was a bit of a letdown on
yeah,
his
it's
end.
a step
'cause
down for him.
Fault in Our Stars was a very solid, well-built story that
Mm-hmm.
was very emotional all the way through. And then he had a very choppy movie. And I'm not going to put all the blame on him. A lot of it could have been due to their story
Studio,
script.
I
It
mean,
could have been due
a
to
lot of different things.
the studio intervention, which is always just a shit show within itself. I mean, Fox was notorious for that. I mean, how many of those X-Men movies could have been amazing?
Oh man.
I mean, X-Men Last Stand was just chopped to shit, but I blame Brett Ratner
Right.
for that. He's a dickhead anyways. The only good movies he ever made were the Rush Hour movies.
Yeah. That's about it.
Well, that's not entirely fair because Bryan Singer pumped out a great movie with Days of Future Past, but then he
Yeah.
shot the shit with Apocalypse, but he also left production halfway through, and that's when he started spiraling, and then he went and
Oh,
did
that's
Bohemian
right.
Rhapsody, and
Went
he even
crazy.
spiraled even
Yeah.
further. So, I mean, but they do have a history.
Of not being good movies.
Well, not
Of
trusting
movies.
what they want to do. I mean,
Right.
how hard did James Mangold have to fight to get Logan to be rated R? The only
Yeah.
reason he got that was because, look, it's either we do this the way we're going to do this, or Hugh Jackman and I walk. And then when Deadpool came out and they saw that rated R superhero
Movies
movie
could
could
be
make
done.
money, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what, we'll give it to you. But Ryan Reynolds had to do some shady shit just to get Deadpool even
to
made.
be- Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean,
nuts.
Fox wasn't the most trusting the studio, which I think was part of its downfall and why Disney was able to purchase it. So, this is the last movie we're going to get in the X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
The Fox X-Men
Fox
franchise.
X-Men, yeah.
Until Marvel Studios comes in and reboots it however they want to reboot it.
Yeah, I think they're going to, like you said, I think they're going to incorporate some people into some other shows and movies before they just pop them out there.
Right.
Because I think it's, too much has been done to just try to reboot X-Men franchises to just throw another rebooted movie out there.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Well, I think, you know me at this point, Marvel Studios does no wrong in my eyes.
Right.
They just can't. They're going to
proven they can't.
Yeah, they really can't do wrong. I mean, they've had a slight misstep here and there, but nothing that would yank fans out of the fandom.
No.
I mean, like, they've had a few, I'm not going to say duds because that's not the right word, but they've had a few less than stellar performances, like with Thor: The Dark World, which I still like that movie, but it paled in comparison to Kenneth Branagh's Thor and really got overshadowed by Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
And then Iron Man 2 was bum rushed out so they could get, another Iron Man movie out there between their hiatus from Incredible Hulk to Thor to kind of bridge the gap. And I think that one got shoehorned a little bit, but Jon Favreau has proven himself as a master filmmaker, so I don't think that was necessarily his fault either. I think it was just it was more of a learning curve for them.
Well, I think so too. I think, like you said, they needed to have some more material out there. Mm-hmm. And it was just, okay,
fly off the cuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to build this universe quick.
Build this quick and get it out there. But it's not going to, like you said, sink the ship. It wasn't something that you go, oh my God, this is complete garbage. It's not.
No, it was, they've always done a solid job. So I'm expecting really great things with this and with the X-Men franchise and the Fantastic Four eventually getting wrapped into it. Guarantee the first hints we'll see of those characters will probably be in Doctor Strange.
I agree.
Because when they start doing the multiverse, I think they're already going to have the Fantastic Four and the X-Men being founded universes by themselves or together shared, and they'll just wrap them into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, okay.
That would, because, I mean, you can't really just say, oh, mutants have been there the whole time.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't happen.
I mean, where have they been this whole time then? You're telling me the X-Men have been here this whole time.
And haven't worked to save the world?
Yeah, the only explanation besides that they could run with was when Hulk snapped everybody back into existence. Mm-hmm. Some of them had alterations when they came back, like something altered in them, and that's how mutants came into be. And you could definitely just restart the Fantastic Four in this universe, no big deal. I mean, you just they're gone off to space. Oh, look, cosmic radiation. Mm-hmm. Now they're starting out.
Right, that would be appropriate.
But the mutants would be a little more hard to explain.
Yeah, you're based in Westchester, New York, and New York City's getting attacked, and you didn't. We'll just let you.
Hey, look at that! Oh well, fuck
Watch it on TV.
It's our day off. We'll get it later. No, it was. I really liked a few things with this movie. I like the relationship between Wolfsbane and Danny, Rain Sinclair and Danny. That was really well put together relationship.
It was
like you could tell that there was some chemistry between
like
them.
you said, that was one of the things in the movie that was actually thought out and fleshed out.
That and Sam and Rodrigo's friendship, like you could tell those two were just buddies, like just hanging out. I wish
we didn't get enough of that on screen, though.
I know, and what we got was cool and all, but like the big payoff moment was when Sam was supposed to yell at Rodrigo, "Nut up," and that's when he'd activate his powers. But it kind of it fell just a little flat because it's like, yeah, you could tell they were buddies, but not enough for him to have that pull to say, "You better nut up or shut the fuck up."
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just like, well, I mean, that's a cool line and a cool scene and all, but I don't really think it flew as properly as it should have. Like I said, I told you before. There's a great movie in there.
Yeah.
There was a great movie. There was an awesome premise, really smartly put together in that sense. Like the horror elements, which really kind of fell flat a little bit, really wasn't scary at all. With the demon bear, like with their own memories and, failures on what they consider the failures on their part, haunting them, and Danny's powers bringing that to life again at them was really cool and thought out, but it just wasn't given enough time. It was just like, hey, here's her fear. Hey, here's his fear. hey, here's
Right.
his fear, and it's like, okay, great. Can I get to see this a little more and how it adversely affects him? Like,
Right, exactly.
Besides him throwing a temper tantrum, there's no payoff here.
Yeah, it's like you said, when we first saw the previews, I was very excited because it was a horror-based comic book
Yes.
movie. I was like, yes!
And these were the
we're gonna
characters
get
to
something
do it
like
with.
that. Right, exactly.
Because mutants as a whole are body horror
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
More so than the Fantastic Four, which is what Josh
Right.
Trank tried to do with that disaster.
Oh,
Fucking Fox.
dude, come on.
We don't bring this up. We don't
No,
bring it up.
We don't. Because I'll go on a whole tangent about emo Doctor Doom.
God, you know what?
I can't
And
even
it's
do
so
it.
sad because
I can't do
Toby
it.
Kebbell
Is
is
a
such an
good
amazing
actor.
actor.
I mean, they took a good actor and gave him shit material,
he
and it was just shit.
He has the worst habit of signing on to some of the shittiest movies.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he was amazing in Dawn as Koba.
Yeah.
And then he has quite a few good performances out there, but then he just got a slew of random crap, and it's like, what were you thinking, dude? Like, did you just need the paycheck? What's going on here,
maybe
man?
so.
You're
Who knows?
you're underusing your talents.
Right.
I mean, hell, even Andy Serkis took him under his wing. And Andy Serkis is when they were doing Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of took him under his wing and showed him the motion capture because Toby Kebbell, when he was in Kong Skull Island, motion captured Kong. Bet you didn't know that, did you?
Did not know that.
Yeah, it was.
Man.
He's awesome, and Fox just has a bad habit of trying to real world their superheroes.
Yes.
Superheroes are not meant to be in the real
No.
world. They're just not. They're meant to
No.
be superheroes. They're meant to be grand and fantastical and
And
just
close,
amazing.
as close to the source material as you can possibly get.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, seriously, you don't make a crash test dummy emo Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom has issues, yeah. He's got mommy issues, yeah. But guess what? He's also Victor Von Doom,
Right.
one of the smartest, richest people in the world, and just a master of all sorts of sorcery, science, and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't make that guy just.
I think part of the problem too was the bad guys. Like I said, were all over this place. Like you end up finding out that Alice Braga is actually a bad guy. She works for a bad company, which is the Essex Corp, which Fox has kept throwing that name out there through Days of Future Past, through Apocalypse, through
Yes.
all this. Well, maybe not Days of Future Past, but they've thrown it out quite a few times.
Thrown it out there a lot.
And it's like, okay, where's the payoff? And the big payoff was supposed to be Mr. Sinister, who they were
Yes.
building for many, many years,
Which I
and just never got to.
just am a great big fan of.
I'm telling you, it would be so fucking
my
funny
gosh.
if Marvel says, "Yeah, we're doing the X-Men movie. Okay, great. Who's the bad guy? Mr. Sinister." Like, yeah, you cheeky bastard. To see
Yes.
what you did there,
Yes,
Feige,
indeed.
you cheeky son of a bitch.
Yeah, if you haven't learned who Mr. Sinister is, go take a look at his history.
Just go watch the X-Men animated series. You're welcome.
Yeah, animated series is good, but look at the comic books as well. Because, man,
He did some messed
he
up
is-
shit.
the dude got Apocalypse's attention because he was so great with manipulating genes.
He's not even a mutant. He's a human
No,
who
he's a
altered
human
his own
who altered-
genes,
yeah.
which is to make himself mutant-esque.
Right.
Which is just wild within itself. Let's see here. So this movie, written by Josh Boone too. I bet you I would love to see his script and see if there was more substance in there. To see if it was longer, if it was always this choppy. Because I bet you there was more.
There had to
that
be
story.
more. I mean, you've been pushing it off for 2 years, and this is the masterpiece that you came up with.
Right.
That's my whole thing. I'm just, that disappoints me greatly.
Well, so the original cut they delivered to Fox, Fox wasn't happy with, which is a giant shocker. Like,
Yeah.
when are they ever happy? And then they went back for reshoots, but then that was about the time that Disney's acquisition came about,
Right.
and it was just all over. Like, this movie had trouble. For having such a troubled history, though, it's nowhere near as bad as Dark Phoenix, Fantastic
No.
Four. Like, it is a mediocre
really
movie
isn't.
with some highlights in it.
I agree. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't really even that good,
No.
but it's not like, okay, bottom bargain basement movie.
Well, it's sitting at 31% right now on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
I don't feel it's a
54.
31. I feel it's more of a 50-ish.
Well, it's 54 with the audience.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about accurate. That's
Yeah.
a little more. That's a little more accurate for that. But
Made $7 million the first weekend.
yeah, but that's
which
also
62% of the theaters being open. That's it.
yeah.
I mean, so I mean that's not terrible, but the $100 million it costs to make, you're gonna lose a lot of money on these movies.
Remind me, Wolfsbane, Rain's character, Wolfsbane, she couldn't turn into a full-blown wolf. She was more like a werewolf, like
She
in the comics, right?
she can in the comics, but early on she was just turned into basically a werewolf because Maura McTaggart actually found her on Muir Island,
Yeah.
and helped her learn her powers and things. But then when she first began, even after Maura McTaggart was teaching her, she couldn't turn full wolf.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they just went like
full
full-blown
wolf,
just
yeah.
wolf with her
Smart,
when she
right.
could have
There
been
you
a really badass werewolf looking
Right.
thing. And there was scenes where she started to exhibit more werewolf-esque things, but I was just like,
But even
yeah.
that, when she jumped on the doctor's back
Yeah.
and started scratching her, I was like going, turn to a werewolf.
Yeah.
Turn to a werewolf.
Fuck her up.
Yeah. I'm like, no. And then she's like,
I mean, she clawed the shit out of her.
She did.
She
did.
went at her hard.
But I was like, I could have done more. But, storyline had to be fed.
Her wolf form is portrayed by real-life wolf Chuck.
Oh, hey, Chuck.
Chuck.
That's good.
Highlight
You
of
did
the
a good
movie,
job,
Chuck. You did a good job.
Yeah.
You know what really
pretty
was
wolf.
cool? Was Lockheed.
Yeah.
I was surprised when he came up.
I was surprised that they actually made him real.
A real dragon,
Yeah.
like a little,
Yep.
that was a pretty cool little moment. I was
was
like,
nice.
oh, because she had a hand puppet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, okay, she's just having a moment. And then when Lockheed finally really came out, I was like, oh, okay, this was a real thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Get it done.
It was. I don't suggest seeing it in theaters, especially if you don't
No.
feel comfortable going back to the theaters just yet. Now, we both had really great experiences at the theater.
Right.
It was.
It
I
was-
went to Flicks. He went to
Felt
Cinemark.
safe. Great social distancing. People were wearing masks
Mm-hmm.
in the theater and all that. It was good.
The staff at Flicks was really great. Like, I had this one guy giving me my food and everything, and he was on it, and he would always like he wouldn't get right up close. He would extend his arm out as far as he could,
Right.
sit on the plate, and like be very courteous and everything.
okay,
it
good.
was a really great experience for me, and I had the whole top row to myself, which that very rarely happens within itself.
Yeah, that was
so
cool.
it was a really
like
cool
that.
experience for me. I think I probably had 20 some odd people in my theater, not very much.
Yeah, it's about 15 in the one I was in, so yeah, it wasn't anywhere near crowded. I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, immediately when you buy your ticket, of course, if anybody's gone to the theater, you know this, it separates the seats where you're picking.
Yeah, it automatically takes two away. Yeah, that's really smart the way they do that. I mean, Flicks, they already block out certain seats, so people don't even have the option to take those two seats.
Cool.
And then they still take two more away from wherever you select.
Oh, that's
and
cool
it was
too, yeah.
it was really smart how they did it. And then they had this whole big old presentation about, oh, this is what we did to keep the theater accessible to
same
you
thing.
and everything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm okay with this. Like, you know what you did? They did a really good job, I thought.
Yeah.
So I'm not so concerned anymore with going to the theater. And actually, I'm going back to Flicks on Monday. Well, it'll be yesterday when this comes out to go see Tenet.
Right.
So I'm really excited to go see that. My wife and I actually get to go have a date night and watch it.
Good thing.
So we're really looking forward to that. But yeah, New Mutants, wait till it comes out on digital
Certainly.
or
Certainly.
physical, watch it there. I'm sure Disney Plus will get it on their streaming service here pretty soon.
Yeah, it should, and they should do it for free pretty soon. I mean, on the service.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Well, even if they put it out to a
pay-per-view.
rental type thing, like how they're doing with Mulan for like $15 or whatever,
Yeah, but if
pay the $15 at that
No.
point. You don't think so?
No.
I would have.
$5 on the rental.
Okay,
on-
$5.
on
There you go.
Disney Plus. I mean, if you were paying for the service already, and you should be a $5.
Yeah,
rental.
but Disney's gonna make. They're gonna try to get some money out of this.
they're gonna
movie.
get some money out of
Yeah.
it, and they will. I mean, seriously, I think if they put it on there for $5 to $7,
That's fair.
They would make some money.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this weekend's only made $9.9 million,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was, like I said, my biggest gripe was it could have been longer.
yeah,
Could have been a lot longer and a little more fleshed out. Hell, I
Right.
could have just done without the whole smiling men thing, and you more focus on the demon bear and like have the demon bear walking through the hallways at night and
can
hear
deal with
growling.
that.
That would have been cooler. Or fleshed out the Smiling Men just a bit more.
Yeah. Flesh out some of the things that cause these guys to have these issues with their powers and have to be sent to this place.
Right.
You know?
I mean, it would have been cool to see at least one known X-Men in this movie. Because they thought they were being trained to be X-Men.
Yeah, exactly.
And then nothing happened with it, obviously. Just the movie ends with them walking out to the world as the new mutants. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, you know, whatever.
Just gotta go chill.
Guess we'll never find out what happens to them. They all got hit by a car. Movie over. It was an interesting movie. I mean, if I had to rate it, I'd give it a 6.
I was going with a 5.7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the worst. By any imagination, it wasn't the worst Fox mutant movie ever.
Oh, gosh, no. Jeez.
For me, that goes either to Last Stand, Origins Wolverine, or... Not the Wolverine, but X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Right.
Or Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix wasn't even as bad as it was made out to be, but it was not that great either.
Good.
No.
Yeah.
Well, so... Anything else you want to add to this one?
No, like we said, it'll be on streaming at some point in time here.
Yeah, just wait for that.
We recommend it for that, so...
And there's other movies to go see in theaters that are probably worth it. I've heard nothing but good things about Unhinged.
Yeah,
so I was a little sad I didn't go see that. And then Tenet comes out this week too, which will be awesome to go see in theaters. And then King's Man comes out soon.
Right.
And they're just starting to pump stuff out now. So
I think we're going to have some things that are going to be, theater worthy to watch. I think, the theaters have got to get their act back together. Now, when you went to Flicks, did they have the same old movie theater posters up before COVID posters?
I didn't even look, to be honest with you, because Flicks has a bunch of posters in their hallways anyways of older movies. So I didn't even look at the wall because parking lot was empty. Yeah. So I parked close to the entrance, and their posters are to the right of the doors. I just walked straight. I didn't even look.
Yeah, Cinemark had the old sun-beaten.
Oh, they're all white and color death now. Oh my god!
I was like, oh my gosh,
that's awesome, dude. I know. I didn't even look.
Bad Boys for Life was all faded.
Bad Boys.
My Spy up here.
Good lord. Yeah, it's been a long time. Apparently they took that to the bottom of the totem pole for stuff to go do.
Yeah, they did.
Shit, I'm about to check that out now. That's depressing.
Yeah, it was depressing. I was like, oh, guys, could have just, come on.
Could have taken the posters out at the least.
And shape it up a little bit.
Yikes. Well, I mean, what else? What are they going to throw posters up for? Every release date's subject to change at this point in time.
That's true. That's very true.
Yikes. Yikes. Okay, nothing else?
Yeah, that's it for this one.
All right, I think we're all good. We'll see you guys again on Thursday for our Bill and Ted review.
Yes.
So
excellent.
Be excellent.
And party on, dudes.
All right, well, I've been Kendrick.
And I'm Mark.
And this has been Movies in Black and White. Thanks for listening.